seascape. I'm using multiple references. I tend to do that. I use a mixture of different pictures to get one cohesive painting, and I am going to start. I'm going to do a seascape. So I wanted to practice water. So I'm going to start by drawing a boat. I'll do it a little bit below centre. I'll have the sky as the bigger part of the background. So I'm just going to start by drawing the shape of the boat in. And this is just like a fishing trawler. Now, I've just got to try and get the basic shapes right, because I usually draw animals, so I do love a seascape, but I don't do them a lot. So I thought I wanted to try out my lovely Rubens watercolours, which I absolutely love. And thought, what better way than to have a go at a seascape with a beautiful big boat right in the middle. So I'm just going to start by getting the basic shapes in. Wanted to make that a little bit longer maybe. Like that. Then I'm going to draw these water around the outside. Now he's got the cabin, comes up the front, probably the same height as the bow. There we go. So it's the same dimensions. I'll just draw the box shape in to begin with, and then got to do it on a little bit of a lilt like that. It's a split cabin, so there's like the lower deck's a bit longer like that. So just a little bit more than halfway maybe. I'm going to draw in the rough shapes, the windows, the top floor. Erase that bit of a line there. And I'm using rough paper, so it's a cool press. It's not cold. It's not the thickest, the roughest paper you can get, but it's quite textured. Because I thought water scene, I want the texture for the water. So I thought that would help. Now, yeah, the bow's a little bit. The front of the cabin's a little bit rounded. Then I can adjust a little bit as I go. It's got a sail on it. And the sail is the height of the boat again. So I'll just draw that there. Mast anyway. Sails down. And I wanted to draw a big stormy sky and have the ocean as the focus. So I thought that would be a bit of fun. Oops-a-days. And then the back of the boat comes around. You can just see the back of it there. I'll erase this little bit. Made a bit of a mess there. It's going to take a couple of attempts to get this drawing right, but that's okay. It's all practice. There we go. That comes around there like that. Then there's, look at my other references. It's got like a crab pot picker-upper or a net picker-upper there. So I'll draw that on. Doesn't have to be exact. Just has to sort of rough, that's the net, yep. So I'll just roughly draw that net on there. Like that. This can be a suggestion of the net. Doesn't have to be right exactly. And you'll see, you can figure out what that is. So then I'm going to make these windows a little bit more defined. And I want to be able to see the underdrawing as well. So I like to leave my pencil marks in my work. So now how many windows? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 windows across the bow. Keep them roughly the same, like that. The roof comes back to there a little bit. I'll draw the little roofy bit, like that. He's got some, actually, I've got to take that roof back a fraction because there's some little windows, little porthole windows just there. So pop those in. Then there's like a railing here, like that. I've got to keep all my angles the same, if not as close to the same as I can get. Got to bring the bow up a bit more, like that. Swoop down a bit more on that angle. Yeah, I'm going to give this a stormy sky, I think. Give it a bit of a stormy sky. Come across here. And the top of the mast is about the width of the roof. And he's got antennas and all kinds of fun things popping up on there. He's got support guy ropes. There's a light about there, so I'll just put a light there. He's got support ropes coming down there, like that. Can't really see much more. I've got to draw the bottom, front of this cabin. It's like that. There's shadow under there. Could do a couple little boxy windows down here because that's the the work quarters. They'd have all their fishing stuff and things and all the fun stuff in there. Doesn't have to be exact. I'm getting stuck in detail, bogged down in detail. I need to not do that because it's a watercolour. Doesn't have to be detailed. Now I'm going to draw the sea. It's going to come to about there, I reckon. So I'll just draw that. Try and keep my line straight. I'm going a bit wonky already. I'm going to draw hills behind him. So I'm going to draw like a mountain back here. Keep it interesting. It can disappear off beside the boat. So he's out in a bay somewhere. Doesn't have to be anywhere. Hello, Playboy. Hello, Avocado. Loving your hair and lipstick. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Yes, I've gone a little bit blonder. Just a little bit blonder. And now this is going to be fun because there's a shadow. And one of the things I loved about this photograph was the shadow. So I'm going to try to draw. Just got to try and keep everything in, well, not shadow, it's a reflection rather, not a shadow. I'm just going to stay rough. Oh, see, I've already done that wrong because I've got to reverse everything like that. But it's going to be underwater, so you're not going to really see that. Hello, Deep. How are you, mate? Hopefully this boat doesn't have a hole in it, or it will be a hole issue. Oh, my God, yes. True. Very true. Okay, so having a quick look. And I thought I also wanted to do clouds, so I'm going to have big clouds up here, and I'm going to have reflections on the water. So this is going to be a bucket ton of fun. Yes, it is. I'm convincing myself. A bucket ton of fun. So I've got my Rubens watercolours right here. Very exciting. And I'm going to spritz them. I already prepared my water earlier because I was having a moment and I got organised. You feeling naughty? I am feeling nautical. Nautical. I see what you did there. I see what you did there. These paints re-wet so well. Right, we're off like a frog in a sock. I've got to find my cloth. Where's my cloth? Oh no! Oh no! It is not a Jenny. It's not a Jenny stream without losing stuff. Oh, there it is. I found it. As I stick my hair in the paint palette. Hang on. It's down here. I got it. Whoops, Daisy. And I hit all the things. Got it. She said yes. Triceratops. Hey? Oh no! I went to the library the other day and asked the librarian if she knew any good authors that wrote about dinosaurs. Oh my God. DP, that's bad. It's so bad it's good. Anyone in my chat, DP, Grey DP, you see there in the chat, is the best with the bad jokes. Like the king of dad jokes. Okay, so I'm going to start. I'm going to leave the boat to last. So I'm going to start. I've got both my dogs at my feet. Pibby's on her best behaviour. My little Pibby dog always barks. She's on her best behaviour today. So I'm rather impressed. Hello, Bear. Does everyone want to say hello to Bear? Hang on. I'm gonna bring Bear up and say hello. So say hello, Bear. There's Bear. Hello, everyone. Hello. Okay, you can go back down now. He was jumping on my leg. Say hello. Now, I've got to come down on my top of my painting. He's puddling off into the hall. Good job. And I'm going to come down to the top of the boat. I'm going to stop at the water. I'm going to go over the mountain a little bit. I'm going to wet that even more. Guessing the fires didn't get closer. They did. They did. They were about 1 K away, which is about half a mile away. And we've got another bad day today. We've got 37 Celsius. So, yes. So we're on alert today. Now, I'm going to go. It looks like a cobalt blue. Oh, that's got a bit of green in it. I don't want to do that. There you go. It looks like a cobalt blue. I cleaned my palette. You'd think I cleaned it well, but apparently not. Okay, so, and I'm getting watercolour everywhere. This watercolour flows beautifully. So, I'm going to do a sky. I'm going to come down. I'm going to leave. You know what? I'm going to actually wet the whole sky. And then I'm going to come back and lift out. Whoops, it is. That was a silly Billy thing to do. And skies are darker at the top and they get lighter to the bottom. So I'll go a bit darker at the top. Run that down quickly to the bottom, to the water. Staying off the boat, ideally. Oh, it doesn't really matter. I can always get things back, get the white back with a little touch of gouache. And I am going to go back up the top and drop in some thicker blue because the sky at the top is always a little bit darker. Always a little bit darker. So do that, then bring it down. Then I'm going to get my bit of cloth. Control Z paper. Yeah, I know. We need a bit of a Control Z. And this, I lift out clouds like that. Smaller ones to the foreground, down closer to the ground, because that would be close up, and bigger ones in the distance. And that is a cloudy sort of backdrop. So now I'm going to clean my brush. I can't speak apparently. Clean my brush, take out the excess moisture and pick up the bead at the bottom. Doesn't matter, it's gone onto the wall. The water's blue anyway, so it's not really an issue. I'm just going to lift this little bit here just because I sort of smudged it, but I can put a cloud there. Problem solved. And I'm going to darken up now while it's still damp. I'm going to make like a purple. I'm going to add a bit of red to my blue to make a purple. Because I want like a stormy, cloudy, greyish. I'd add a bit of brown to that as well to make it more grey. Bit of blue. So I want it to be a bit more of a purpley grey. And then I'm going to come under these clouds, I reckon, while it's still damp, and add a little bit of dark under the clouds. Just anywhere I see that I reckon would look alright, would look good to have a bit of storminess, and I'll lift that off just so it's subtle. Just leave a little hint of it like that. I'm going to wet into this one a bit and drop a bit of that there. A bit more. Just put that on and took it off. That was a bit silly Billy, but that's okay. And while this is all still damp, it'll spread out a little bit. Right, I'm not going to do a whole lot more. I'm getting a bit... Hello, Jeremy. How are you, mate? I am very good, thank you. I am just doing a seascape today. I'm going to soften around these edges. So I'm just wetting my brush and just dragging that out around a little bit, just to soften it, because the clouds aren't hard. Clouds are fluffy. They're fluffy. So I'll lift off some of the edges. There we go. I reckon that's going to do. That's going to do. Okay. Now that's mostly, it's damp. It's not wet, but while that's still damp, I'm going to drop in a mountain. And mountains in the distance are purple. So I'm going to make a purple, a dark purple. I could even almost use this same grey that I've got. I'm just going to make it a little bit thicker. So I go a bit of blue, bit of brown, touch of red, touch of red, bit of blue, bit more blue. God, this brush absorbs water, moisture. Bit more blue, bit more brown. It's a reddy brown, so that's what helps to make the purple. And then this is damp, so I'm going to drop that bluey purple, grey-ish thing, colour, around into the mountain, like that. While that's still damp, and that'll keep those edges soft on the mountain, the distant mountains, which is what I want. Oops, today's got a bit onto the ocean. Let's lift that off quickly. Just having a quick look. Around the edge of the boat there. And then that is pretty much the mountain. Good, just chilling today, not adding too much. Cool. Sometimes it's nice to have a relax. It is nice to have a day off and a relax. I'll be doing that this afternoon because it's going to be too bloody hot to do anything else. So I'm going to drop some darker in closer to the waterline because it's not all just one flat colour. Drop all that in, trying to keep my ocean line flat. The distance, right, so that is pretty much the sky and the mountains done. So I've got to let that dry a fraction, but what I can do while I'm letting that background dry is grab my other brush, my little size 4, what are they called? Silver black velvet. Love me silver black velvet brushes. So, and I'm going to drop in bit of sky colour into the windows because the glass has got, oh, that brush has got a bit of dirts on it. Don't want a dirts on the brush. That's better. Why is that brush holding dirt? Okay, that brush is icky. Icky brush. We're going to grab another brush because I don't like that one. Don't know what I've done to that one, but it's not happy. So I'm going to grab another bit of, oh, that's better. That's a bit cleaner. And grab a little bit of clear blue. I'm going to pop that into the glass, because the glass is reflecting the sky, so it's blue. Just a light blue, like that. And I can drop a little bit thicker while it's still wet into the top, and that will flow down a little bit and give it like a three-dimensional reflective sort of a look. I'm going to do the same with the bottom glass. Come down here. You can hear the cockatoos going mad outside. All our birds are, because we watered them, give them some water this morning. So they're all come down for a drink, preparing for their hot day. And again, drop some darker blue, or stronger blue. Now see, that's bled back up into the top of that. I've got to try and lift that off carefully. And again, like I said, any light that I lose, I can pick back out with a bit of gouache. I've got my gouache palette at the ready. Okay, so I'm happy with that. Now, I've got to let that dry a bit more. Got to let that dry a bit more. But I can work, I can't really wet. I've got to just wait for that mountain to dry a fraction. So, clean my brush. I'm just having a quick look at all my references. There was one in particular that I really like, the water. So I'm like, I'm going to try that. We'll see if that works. I'm going to go in pretty much with the sky colour again. But I've got to cut around the boat. So I'm going to grab my brush. I'm going to leave a little bit of a gap. Just a little. Cut around the boat. Go into there because you can see the ocean in there. I need a bigger brush. Go the bigger brush. Go in the bigger brush. Grabbing some more cloth because I've managed to saturate that one. There we go. Now I'm going to come down underneath, wetting the bottom of the paper, pretty much the same kind of wet that I'll wet the top. So, all the way down. Wet that all the way down. And now this is going to be quick. This is going to be quite quick. I probably might go in ultramarine, which is, yeah, marine. It's a marine colour, I suppose. It's a... Got to make sure that paper's wet and I can't see the sheen on it. If I had better light, I've got to get better lighting for my art room. Note to self, get better lighting. So I'm looking for what I think is a cobalt, an ultramarine sort of kind of blue, which I reckon would be that. That's definitely looking like an ultramarine blue. And I'm also going to go in with a cobalt, which is a sky colour. First, being brave, people. Being brave. A little bit mad, a little bit brave. Ooh, don't go onto the boat. Okay. I want to try and keep the boat white. Cut around. Oh, see. Oops. Doesn't matter. Got a little bit onto the boat, but that's okay. I can take that back at the end and let that flow. Pick that bit up. Take it down to the side to use it. Then, again, darker into the distance, lighter into the foreground, and I'm going to leave little wave textures like that. Okay, I'm not going to overdo it, people. Famous last words. Now, darker, because shadows, leaving a little gap into where the boat shadow is, leaving little wave wrinkles. Wrinkles, that's not wrinkles. What do you call those? Little reflections like that. I will do them darker. I'm just getting the rough bits in. I'll draw some waves now into the distance. Waves get smaller. So do little blobs of the darker blue into the distance and have the bigger ones into the foreground. Because everything in the distance gets smaller. The further away, the smaller it is. So do little blobs into the distance. Then coming into the foreground, they get bigger and more clear. Longer. I can use the barrel of the brush a little bit to make them look a bit more, a bit thicker, maybe. Like that. Doesn't matter if they spread out a little bit because waves do weird things. I can drag out the edges. Like that. And I'm going to make a darker purple for the shadows around the boat here. While it's still damp, I can go into here. I'm just purpling up. Get a bit more of a shadow right against the bottom of the boat. Probably should have got a little bit darker. Go a little bit darker. Right against the boat. And just do ripples. Like that. And then where the mast is, like that. Darker shadows I can do darker under the waves at the foreground. Try not to keep them too symmetric because your foreground's stronger, more detail. Just a little. And that is pretty much going to be left. Right. Now, I've got a few different boats for references. I'm going to use like a red. I'm going to use a red. I'm going to clean my palette a little bit. I'm going to use a red for the trim on the boat because it's a nice bit of bling, on the painting. Get another fresh bit of cloth. Always have this hand towel, kitchen towel handy. It's very, very handy. I'm going to go a bit of red. I'm going to go, I don't know what red this is, but it's a beautiful bright red. Oh, that's pink. I don't want pink. I want red. Hang on. Oh, get that off the palette. Don't want pink. I'm not doing flat. There we go. That's a better red. Oh, no! And I got it on my painting. There we go. Pick it up quick. Pick it up quick. Goodness gracious. Okay. Got it. Nothing to see here, people. Nothing to see here. These things happen. Okay. Now, is that dry there? Not quite. Okay, I've got to wait a fraction because otherwise it's going to bleed up into the picture. So I'm going to clean my brush. I'll leave that red on my palette. Clean my brush. And I'm going to pop in some shadows on the boat. Again, I'm going to use purpley grey. So I'm going to go a bit of red. Whoops. Bit of blue. And a bit of brown to make it grey off. Give you a nice neutral sort of grey, purple. Like that. All right. And I'm going to carefully pick out where the shadows are on the front of the boat. I'm going to wet here because this is nearly all in shadow. Cut around the edge of the bow. Like that. And then I'm going to drop that purple just in up here because that side is a little bit darker. So to get your three-dimensionalness, you drop in, you keep a bit of variation in your colours. So I'm going to drop the darker into that side because the light's not hitting over there. Like that. And that's that bit of shadow there. I'm also going to add this same shadow colour on the hull. Clean up because she's in shadow on this side. I'm going to leave a little gap there. And I'm going to drop this same purpley shadow colour, just very watered down, onto the hull. Like that. The hull is mostly white. It is mostly white. So there's more shadow on that side. So I'll wet that down. Not going quite to the edge. And drop in more shadow on that side. Like that. Okay, so that gives, so it's darker on that side. And I'll drop a bit of darker pigment down the bottom there. Having a quick look. Right, that's looking all right. And I can come across this line like that. You can see it's starting, just starting to maybe come to life a little bit. I'm going to fill in the back here. That's all in shadow. I've got to add a little bit more blue into that, I think, because I need to purple that up a bit more in there. It's a bit too brown. There we go. Get that shadow, that nice luscious shadow in the back. Like that. And I can also, it's a little bit darker shadow across the bow there, across the front. Just using the very tip of my brush. Like that. The very tip of my brush. Coming up to the point in the bow, like that. Okay. And I can also take that same shadow tone I've got to put a shadow on the bow here, on the front of the top deck. So I'm going to wet my brush. And I'm going to just take a bit of shadow colour to the very front, because that bit there is also a little bit of shadow. It helps to give it that three-dimensional effect. I didn't put any blue in the portholes at the back there, so I better put a little bit of blue in the portholes. Just there. Like that. A little bit of darker blue in the tops of those ones. Okay. Let that dry a little bit. I'm going to go onto my mast now. I'm going to grab my finer brush. Give it a good old clean. Give it a good old clean. And grab a bit of, I reckon a bit of what looks like sienna. Actually, no, I'll go yellow ochre. A bit of yellow ochre for the mast. A bit of yellow ochre for the mast. Grab a smaller brush so I can get a finer tip. And get a bit of that yellow ochre. I've got to get a bit more water on my brush so it flows a little bit better. Get some of my yellow ochre. Whoops, it is a bit wobbly. I can rest my hand on the page a little bit. It's dry up there now. Whoops, my lines, you can see they're not perfect. Wiggly wobbly. But you know what? That's a painting, isn't it? It's not meant to be perfect. It's just an impression of what you see. I can draw this. My paper's a little bit warped as well. So just draw these lines down. Suggesting them coming right down now. Whoops, a daisy. Doesn't matter if it's not exactly on the right spot because I can, there's more than one line. There's lines going in all directions. So I can draw a couple more lines coming down. There's a line off here. Line off here. Sort of lines going everywhere, so I'm just suggesting them. Now the net is more of a purpley grey, so I can use pretty much the same colour that I used in the shadows and just suggest that on. Literally just draw a little squiggly line so it looks like a net, sort of, kind of, maybe. Doesn't have to be perfect, just like that. Might make it a bit darker at the front, put a bit more brown on it maybe because it's, net. Got to get a bit more moisture on my brush. It's like a sepia almost, actually, this colour. Just like that. Like the texture on the paper actually do a little bit of the work. You can see that gives it a grainy kind of texture. So that's quite good. Righto, let's have a quick look. Is there anything else I want to... I've got to do the red. I've got to do the red. Zing. Bit of zing on it. Needs a bit of zing, bit of lift. Which I've got up the top here. It's like a vibrant red. And I'm going to draw that. Just get a bit more on my brush. Around the top line of the bow. Doesn't have to be perfect. That gives that little bit of pop. And then there's, on the waterline, there's a bit of red as well. So I'm just going to follow that. The water's dry now. Just got to take that to the water. Like that. Coming around using the very tip of my brush. Like that. And then going off into the distance a little bit. So it changes direction slightly. You can just see it through there. Can't really see it on the back of the boat, but I'll turn the corner like that. All right, that's pretty cool. So now I just need a little bit more. I want a little bit more contrast. I'm going to add a little bit of this brown on the shadow side. Whoops. Of all these poles and things. Not all the way, just a little, just a swoosh. A swooshy smoosh of shadow on the backs. Woo! Went a bit wiggly wobbly, doesn't matter. On the backs of these. Like that. I can draw little nasty bits. Like that. Doesn't matter. I'm not connecting, but there we go. It's a watercolour. Alright, I'm happy with that. Now I've got to darken the shadows underneath. I want a bit more contrast. I've got to be a bit braver with your contrast, people. Okay, got to get a bit more contrast going on. So I'm going to darken up. Ooh, bit of brown on there still. I'm going to darken up in the windows. Just at the very top. I just want a little bit more contrast. There's not enough contrast going on. It's all looking a bit wishy-washy. So a bit of contrast. Let that flow. Like that. There we go. I'm also going to use this same blue over the top of that to get that dark shadow in there. Come across there. A bit more of that dark down that side of the bow. I'm going to wet that a bit more. Drag it down a bit. There we go. It's a bit better. All right. And the white's doing what the white does. I might lift that off a fraction, actually. I'm just going to wet my brush and just lift that off a fraction. Ooh, not with that bit of cloth because that's got a bit of red on it. Don't want to be doing that, people. I always have extra. Just going to dab that a fraction, just because it's still darker, but just to soften it a little bit. So it's not quite such a shock of dark. And I'm going to rub it a little bit just to lift it a bit more. Like that. Okay, shadows on the water. I've got to get stronger with the shadows on the water. Mix up some purple, getting scared. Mix up purple, red, blue. I'm not going to go brown with this. I'm going to keep it a reddy blue. Red and blue mix, I mean. Make a nice strong purple. Go a dark blue. Make a dark purple. I'm going to add a little bit of brown. But I won't. But I could, but I won't. Okay. Oh, getting brave. Going back onto where? I'm going to just go back onto here. And now I'm going to drop that in. I just wet that again. The water does do strange things. There we go. All different colours. Like that. Jiggle that because that's a line of the mast in the water. Again, a line of the mast in the water. The lower one, like that. It's important to try and remember your shadows and your reflections and things. So that's pretty much the boat and the water done. Okay, I'm going to go back onto the mountain. I want to make a dark, I'm going to take this dark purple into the very base of the mountain because it's looking a bit flat. Needs a little bit more colour in there, a little bit more lift. This is really just nearly all blues and purples. Like it's a lot of shadow colours. I'll take it across the out of the back here, like that. Connect that little bit there. Just going to soften up this top edge. Going to wet my brush, damp it, and just come around here. You know what I haven't done? Seagulls. We need some seagulls. Because people forget to put life in their art. You draw, like people draw a building, but there's no anything. There's nothing. There's no animals. There's no, and there's always birds. There's always birds. There's always stuff going on. So I'm just going to draw some little wings, little itty bitty wings in the background. I'm just going to grab a bit of a blue grey. And I'm using the very tip of my brush. Oh, that didn't work, did it? Hang on. Using the very tip of my brush. Draw some little seagulls just off into the distance, because fishing boats are usually surrounded by birds and odd numbers. Because why not? And I'll do a little one in the distance like that. So it looks like they're sort of flying towards the boat. And I'm pretty happy with that, I think. I reckon I'm pretty happy with that. What do you reckon, guys? I think that's pretty good. Don't know that I'm going to do a whole lot more. So I'm going to sign that. Get a bit of blue. Sign it down this bottom right hand side over my red blotch that I accidentally put on there. Like that. And sign it. And then I'm going to do another one. No idea what I'm going to do, but we'll figure it out. Maybe I'll do a what do you call it? A lighthouse. Looks all washed up. just a little washed up. Okay, so I'm just going to take off my tape on the edges. I like that. Whee! It's always a fun bit. And like that. Ooh. And that's my little seascape. My little ship. My little boat. My fishing boat. I thought that turned out pretty cute. Okay. Lighthouse. Let's do a lighthouse. Why not? So I'm going to grab my paper. Looking around for my paper. Oh, except I have none left. Okay, well that was good. Okay, we'll just get another piece of paper, shall we? Hang on, bear with me. Got to find me watercolours. Oh, I know I have more. That's all multimedia. Multimedia? Mixed media. Oh! So I've tipped all over myself. Hang on. That's all for drawing. Hang on. Hold that thought. Here, get in there. All right. A little owl back. I've got some over here, maybe, in this drawer. Ah, here we go. Got me watercolours in here. I cleaned everything up. I've moved everything around. So everything's not where it's supposed to be. Because that's how I roll. So I've got some Bockingford. Let's have a look at that. What's that like? Oh, that's a bit all right. Let's use the Bockingford. Hello, Shane. How are you, mate? So I've just finished my little ship scene, and I'm going to do a little lighthouse scene, I reckon. I'm feeling a bit lighthousey. So let's do that. Push that back. And it's pretty much going to be the same colours. So I'll pop me a bit of, oh gee, that paper's gone all flippy floppy. I'll stick that up there. Where's my tape? God, I'm losing all the things apparently. All right. A bit of tape her down, and we'll do a lighthouse. And I'll try and do a stormier sky, because why not? Let's have a go. Whoops, got to move it over there a bit. I'll get it onto my other painting. Whee, under there. And so how have you been, Shane? What's been happening? I love your photo the other day of you and your gorgeous partner. It was very lovely. Happy Valentine's Day to everyone for the other day. Okay, so I am going to put that painting out of the way for a minute, like that, and I'm going to draw a lighthouse. So I'm gonna draw. I might start with the lighthouse. Thinking. Do I have any others? I don't know whether I saved any other references. I didn't, because that would be how I roll. Okay, I'm just going to quickly, I'll draw this. because the sky's going to be the majority of the picture. Mum and me have been watching from the start. She's just gone to bed. Oh, cool. Cool, cool. Well, say hi to her tomorrow for me when she wakes up. Okay. Now, I might even, because we have, I'm just going to Google another photo of one of our local lighthouses. Just bear with me a second. I've just got to get the reference up. Get a photo of it. Images. And I'll just screenshot. What? Okay, well, it's not that one. Hang on. Because where my family live, there's a gorgeous lighthouse. So I'm just going to try and get a photo of it. So I can paint. I've painted it a few times. I've actually got a pastel picture of it up on my wall that I did years and years ago. There we go. There she is, the old beast. And I'm just going to screenshot it because it gives me that. Then I'll just do that lighthouse on this scene. Okay. I'll do some of the beach, not all of the beach, because it's a very rocky, well, lighthouses usually are on rocky outcrops. I will do. My girlfriend is ill. She's in bed with the flu. Oh, no. We didn't get a Valentine's Day. Oh, no. That's no good, mate. That's no good at all. All right, so I am now going to draw this lighthouse. I've got to erase that because this lighthouse doesn't have that on it. And you've got to keep your perspective. Everything's not flat. It's got slight curves. Everything's got slight curves to it because it's going off into the distance, kind of, sort of. I could even draw a boat in the water if I want to. Undecided. See. Now, the height of the doodah is 2 times 1, 2 and a bit times the length of the light on top, and then there's the building at the bottom. See you a week on Thursday, getting the train down. Nice. Awesome, awesome. And this has got a hexagonal base. So I'll try and get that. Perspective. Perspective can be interesting. It's good practice. Very good practice. But it can be a little bit confusing at times. You've got to just think, if you're looking at something, what directions do things go? Got to soften the angles a little bit. I've got those angles way too extreme. It's not that big of an angle. Oops, see that and that's not enough. I've got either too much or not enough. Okay, come down here. There's a little gap, because that's like a stairway. There's a little gap, and that comes in a fraction, like that. And then, like a bunker, that I'd never noticed that there was a bunker on this side of it. Never noticed that before, but there you go. Okay, and I'm not going to worry about the stairs and stuff. I'm just going to draw the cliff. Because, you know, I'm a glutton for punishment and I can't draw hills and rocks and things. So what are we going to do? We're going to do a shit ton of rocks. Because that's how we roll. Okay, I'm not going to do all of it though. Because I've just realised I haven't got much ocean. Ocean comes across here sort of like that. Okay, going back to my references. And I'm going to draw a bit of a beach. I'm also not good at beaches. So I'm going to do all the things I'm no good at, because that's how we roll, people. There's a bit of a rock there. You know, why not? Do all the things you're no good at. Because that's how you learn. That's how you learn, is by doing the things that you don't know how to do. And then you get used to it. That's how I ended up drawing birds, because I was terrified of drawing birds. And then it became one of my favourite subjects. I've just realised I've got to change this a fraction, erase those. Like that, and then that one's much more steep angle because it's disappearing right off. Like that. So there's that one, that one, that one, that one, that one. So it's almost rounded, but not quite. There's door there. Another door there, or a window. It's narrower. There's a door or a window there going that way. There's a little bit of a window on the side of the doodah, of the thing, There's another line there. There's a towery thing, an access point on there like that. Do a bit more of an angle like that. It's like a standy area bitty thingy with all his chimneys on, no chimneys, all his antennas on. There's something on that, and then there's little railings following the direction of the hexagon or octagon. I think it's an octagon actually. Yeah, octagonal shape, and then on this floor there's windows that come to there, like that. Oh, my vacuum cleaner's about to start. I can hear him, little sucky McSuckface, my vacuum cleaner, my little automated jobby. He's a little beast. He does my housework for me because we like that. That's how we roll. I've got to be a bit. What have I done here? Oh no, that's all right. Because that one comes across there like that. Because each one of these is 2 windows. Got to take that one down a bit more of an angle like that. Okay. Righto, that is pretty much, there's a mountain bit behind there. Got to narrow my doodah up the top. I've made that way too thick. So I'm going to narrow that off for a start. And it's fun. You see, the more you look, the more you see. As you do. Like that. And then that comes out like that. Like that. Okay. Then there's all little... I've got to soften that up a fraction. Got that way too bright. I have no idea how I'm going to do stormy sky, but we'll have fun trying, won't we, peeps? We'll have fun trying. Yeah. Oh, I'm a glutton for punishment, but that's okay. Okay, I'm going to draw that cliff there. Like that. Then do some water like that. Then, is there, I can't remember. Oh, there's land in the distance because that's the bay. There's a little bit of land off in the distance there like that because that's a big bay that comes around. Okay, I reckon that's my base drawing. I'm going to just Google, because why not, stormy skies, because I need something to use as a reference. And we're going to go rogue. We are going to go rogue and have some fun. Hopefully, with skies. Just having a quick look. Trying to find one that I like that I reckon I can do. And I might shut the door because the vacuum cleaner's going to come up here otherwise. Oh, don't go to painting. There we go. There we go. Shut that door. Okay. Because the sky's going to be the focus of this one. Sorry, just still looking. Still looking. Ooh, okay. That's a fun one. Okay, so I'm going to clean my brushes. I have a spare clean water here. So clean my brushes and then get some fresh clean water, and I'm going mad here. I'm going to drop it onto the background. I'll cut out around the lighthouse. So just wet your paper thoroughly. That's why if you use a nice quality watercolour paper, it'll buckle a little bit because I don't stretch my paper. You can stretch your paper, which is where you pre-soak it and tape it down. I don't do that. I just tape it on the paper, on the board as I'm doing it. But you can pre-stretch your paper, which will stop it warping. So I'm expecting a little bit of warp on this, which is fine. I come right down to the mountain. And then I'm going to make up, I can even use this blue-grey, make a real stormy dark blue-grey. Could add a bit of brown to that I've got there. Bit more blue, bit more blue. Let's have a look. That's a good stormy colour. It's got a bit of heart and soul to it. While that's wet, I'm going to drop in some storm. Dropping in the storm, people, we are. Gotta mix a bit more. Okay. And I can even let some of it run like rain. I'm leaving little gaps for clouds because why not? How am I going to do that? It's not going to work, is it? That's all right. And I'm going to go into a blue now. Go into my blue to the bottom. Because the sky's not all purple. There's a bit of blue in there. Like that. Bring that down to the bottom. I'm not going to even go over that again. I've got to practice me skies. I haven't practiced skies in ages. In ages and ages, in fact. So, a bit more through here. I'm going to lift off a little bit. Create like a... I don't know whether I like that or not. Worst scenario, I end up with a messy bit of paper. Actually, no, I don't like that, so I'm going to wet it again. Like that. And make some super darks. Stormy. We want stormy. I'm going to make some super dark purple. This is going to be scary because this is super dark, super strong. There we go. Let it flow. Let it do what it does best. Like that. I need to even go darker up the top, a bit more grey maybe. Grey it off a bit. I've got to go right up the top. Probably going to make a mess of this, but whoa, okay, we did that. Okay, wet it, let it run down a bit. Like that. I can just lift out a little bit. I don't want, that's not the right shape. There we go. I want cloud shape. Soften the edges. Don't like that. Okay. And I'm going to let that bloom down there because that looks like rain. That does what it wants to do, what I want it to do. Looks like rain nicely. All right. Get rid of any hard lines. I'm going to go an even darker if I can. I need to make a really dark purple. I'm going to go like a bit of indigo into that maybe. And drop that into the wettest areas. And let it flow. Like that. Darkest up in the top corner. So why not? Keep it a little bit everywhere. See if I can have a look. That looks all right. That's all right. All right. I'm going to clean my brush. Let that dry a fraction. Just pick up that water at the bottom. Then I've got to wet the ocean because we're going to do the ocean. Wet the ocean, going around the rock, not quite going up to the sky. So I'm going to wet that. I'm going to go into my ultramarine. I'm going to clean one of my little palettes off so I can put my ultramarine on there. Whoops-a-days. Like that, because the water's stormy dark. I'm going to add a bit of indigo to it. While that's still damp, I'm going to mark in the water. I'll do that. And I'm going to lift off a little bit of the water's rippling up onto the shore there. So I have a little bit of a ripply effect coming up there. I'm going to go even darker. Now that's wet, I'm going to drop in that blue again. Around that rock. I'm just going to draw the texture of the way the waves will be going into the shore on that wet paper. Like that. This gives you the impression of ripples. Like that. Few more, but not quite so. Oh, you can see that's bled back up into the sky a fraction, but it's all right because I can put a hill there. I can bring the land out a fraction, so that's fine. Now I'm going to go back to my reference, if I can find it, with my lighthouse. I'm going to draw the cliff in. Now the cliff is yellow ochre. It's a sandy colour. So I've got yellow ochre on my paper here. So I'm going to grab a bit of that. I'm going to mix a little bit of darker brown with that, maybe a little bit of whatever that brown is. Don't know what brown that is, but I'm going to use that. There we go, just to brown it off a fraction. Managed to dirty all my water now. And I'm going to just wet this whole mountain. Or cliff. Hill, whatever it is. The hill. We're going to wet the hill. That's what we're doing. We're wetting the hill. And it's sort of a sandy colour too, so, which works. And there's a distant mountain there. Try not to come onto the ocean. I've got to draw the sand as well. I've got to try and get the sand in there. I've got a reference it's got sand, sort of. That's right, we'll use that. We'll have a look at that. Okay, so I'm just going to wet that down and dilute it right down so it's pale going to the water. Like that. So I've just got a bit of tint on the brush. So I'll just suggest the sand coming through. And draw that little rock there. There's a mountain in the distance, so I can draw that in. I'm going to add a little bit more of a grey colour. I'm going to add a bit of brown to my blue to make it grey. And I'm just going to draw this distant mountain in. What the? Oh, it's a bit of a... I've got to go over the bit of a smudge that I did before, like that. All right. Okay, and there's a distant little mountain range in the distance. Ta-da! Okay, I might make that a little bit darker even, because why not? Just at the bottom. You want to go out there? Hang on, let's let my dog out. Off you go then. All right, clean my brush. My very, very dirty water. Hello, Playboy, how are you, mate? Okay, so now the cap. Sky's dry-ish, almost, maybe. You know what? We're gonna do the hill first. We're gonna do the hill. So I'm gonna go in with a bit of greeny brown. Clean off my palette because I made a god awful mess of it. I'll leave the red there because that's, you know, there. Okay. Greeny brown. Ew. That's not greeny brown. Oh, it is. Okay. I want that colour. That's the colour I want. And I'm going to drop that in onto the cliff. Not everywhere, but some of the places. There's a bit of foliage, a bit of greenness on my hill. Like that. You can see the sand through it. There's maybe a couple of little bushes. A bit of scrubby dub. Bit of scrubbity dub coming down to the beach. Let's have a look at my other reference. Comes down to here-ish, sort of. Like that. I'll add a bit of a darker green even, a bit of a stronger green. So less pigment, less water, more pigment. Add a bit of bushiness. Bit of bushness down here. Bit more detail into the foreground. Like that. Okay, having a quick look. How on earth am I going to do the sand? Okay, so I'm going to go stronger blue into the background. The background is always darker. So right up to that edge of the mountain there. And I'm going to just drag that down with a damp brush. Soften that edge. And drag it sort of so it comes down in ripples. Like that. And got to add, I'm just going to have another look at more references, I think. I'm going to go a bit of cobalt into the foreground. Or I need a bit of dark here, so it's darker out there. The deeper water is darker. There we go. And now I'm going to drag that in. Showing little deeper bits. Okay. Like that. Could get a bit of turquoise in there too. Do I have a turquoise? I do have a turquoisey looking colour. It's a bit of fun. I'm just going to draw some ripply bits like that. Get a bit of turquoise. Don't know how this is going to go over the top of everything, but we'll see. Let's get it because that's in the lighter parts of the water, which is in the shallower areas. Let's wet that a little bit. There we go, that's looking all right. A bit of turquoise just in the foreground. And I'm going to do the rocks. So I've got to lighten off that sand. So I'm going to go back. I'm going to clean my brush in my clean water. I'm just going to scrub the sand here. Get a bit of clean cloth. Scrub the sand. Because I want to lift that off a bit, I think. Because sand is quite light. It's not that yellow. I'm just scrubbing that and I'll lift it with my bit of cloth. Like that. Not everywhere, just in some of the spots. Like that. And right along the edge is darker. So right at the edge of the water is darker because that's where it's wet. So I'm going to go a little bit of this kind of, oh, that's a bit strong, but that's okay. I'll just wet my brush and drag that out. Just in the foreground. Like that. That's where it's just wet, the very edge. Add a bit of blue to that as well, a bit of blue-grey. Touch of blue. Maybe. Just in that edge, the leading edge. Like that. Alright. I'm going to add a bit of a stronger green. More of a sap green, I reckon. So closer to the beach. It's down here. Bit more interest right on the edge of the water. Maybe chuck in a couple little grassy bushy textures. There we go. Okay, I'm not going to do anything more than that because that's too much. That'll be too much. Okay, go back to my lighthouse reference. And the sky's got dry now, so I'm going to grab my smaller brush. And we're going to go into the top of the lighthouse. And that is a dark green. I'm going to go in like with this dark green. Definitely not that green. I need a bit more blue in there. Oops, a bit more blue. And I'm going to draw in, paint in. This top's like a heritage green colour. That's the cap on the top of the light. Like that. Then at the bottom comes out like that. And then comes down like that. There we go. Leaving the lighthouse white. It's got it drew through all that there. Then add some dark in there. Super dark shadow. It's going to be that side that's in shadow. Pick that bit off there. I'm just going to lift that up. Get my clean brush, clean my brush, and just pick that bit off. I made it a bit too dark there. I want the front to be dark. I can even drop some of that shadow colour, that purpley colour, into the front there. I'll leave the actual, that bit, the lens part, a little bit lighter for now. I've got to come back at the end and do the shadows. Now I'm going to go into the lighthouse itself with shadow colour. And I'm going to use cobalt blue. Just a very, very soft wash down the front to suggest the lighthouse in shadow. So I'm just going to wet that. It's wet shadow under there. Like that. Shadow down the front. Comes down to there. and I'll go even, once that's a little bit, or actually I can probably do it now, is go along that edge like that. Then down the front and take that and let it flow back into itself. Like that. Got to tidy up that line there. There we go. That creates that shadow down the front of the lighthouse. Then I've got to do that onto this front of the lighthouse. I'm just going to wet that whole bit and I'm going to drop in my blue. Like that. And take it down that face of the lighthouse. Like that. That gives you that shadow down the front, which I will add to after. Pop the blue into the windows, because they're reflecting the sky, the purpley sky and the ocean. All right, having a quick look. I've got to do some more with this top. What am I going to do? I might go a bit of brown actually over the top of that green. Just underneath. Like that. That's shadow. It's a greeny brown. Like that. Okay. And then draw in the balcony bit over my pencil marks. Right. Come down to the front. And then I've also got another balcony bit just here. Follows the windows around. Whoops-a-days, don't want to do that. Pick that off there. I'll do that bit in a minute, but I can do the front part. Like that. Okay, and then I'm going to darken around the edges. There's a little balcony there. Like that. Going to draw the shape of that cap on the light cap thing. Then there's more little antennas and lightning rods and all kinds of fun stuff coming up here. There's an earth line that comes down here. I won't worry about that actually. Not going to worry about that. I'm just going to strengthen up the edge of the lighthouse, get a bit more contrast. I missed a bit. I've got to do the balcony bit up there. Take this down the front. Like that, just to give that a bit more of a definite line, like that. So it's starting to come together now. I can draw, that's dry enough. I can draw, whoops, a daisy. Keep your angles right. Like that. Draw that face of that building there. Okay. going to darken off these windows with a bit of deep blue. Because these windows are nearly all dark. But I'll do like the stormy sky colour. Like that. I've got to wet my brush a little bit more just to help me to... Hey Stitch, thank you mate, thank you. Doing something different today. I did a boat earlier, I'll show you my boat. I did this one earlier, my seascape of a boat, and now I'm doing a lighthouse. I'm having a sea day. Having a sea day. I'll darken up this one. There's a bit of a window there. Looks great, thank you. Thank you very much. Much appreciated. Darken this one, just the side of it. Like that. Just got to remember the directions of your shadows. Like that. Those ones I can actually wet and make almost completely dark. All right, now this is brown. This is like a concrete. So, got like a concrete browny colour here. Pop that down there. It's like a bunkery looking thing. Comes out there. I'm just going to drop that in like that and take it down to that side of the cliff. Then I'm going to drop some more darker brown mixed with all the different shadow colours into the bottom there. It's like a grey almost. Like that. And then take it across the top like that. Don't want it solid dark. I just want it, I want to leave little bits, little snippety bits. I can lift a little bit of that off if it's too much, like that, and then just drag it out again. Oops. Like that. That just gives it a little bit of interest in the shadows. I'm going to add a little bit more definition to the bushes. Just at the front. A little bit darker into these bits. Make it look a bit more three-dimensional, maybe. Like that. Okay, having a look. And I'm going to go super dark into the shadows on the hill in the background. Over the top of this little rocky bit, little rocky outcrop. Go across the back, like that. It's right at the base of those hills. Like that. Okay, and there's rocks here. I've got to try and draw the rocks. So I'll do the backs of them. Actually, I'll go this really sort of brown. Like that, because that's a rock there. A rock there. A rock there. Strengthen these rocky colours. There's a rock there. Just going to try and make them look a bit rocky. Not quite sure how, but anyway. And I'm just going to drag that colour out onto the front of the rock. Just wet with water. So just dilute it, drag it out. Connect those rocks a bit. Like that. Leave a little bit of a highlight on the top. A bit more brown. More of a reddy brown maybe. And just while that's wet, connect me rocks again. Add that into the back. That looks a little bit rocky. Looks a little bit rocky. We're getting there, sort of. A bit darker at the bottom. A bit darker at the bottom. It's down here. And again, connect all the rocks. Like that. That's going to have to do that, I reckon. I'm going to add a little bit of diluted purple, sky purple, into the lighthouse there, because you can see that through. I've got to clean my brush. You can see how I've got a little bit, I've got to get rid of that hard line just there, right next to the roof of the lighthouse. Get rid of that little bit of a highlight. And the white of the paper is the white of the lighthouse. I've got to do a little bit of a sandy texture on there, and I'm going to be very brave and very crazy. I'm going to wet my brush, dip it in my yellow ochre, and that's not going to work. No, that's not going to work. Shoot. Okay, what am I going to do? How am I going to do that? What can I do? How can I make? I can stipple, kind of. Stipple with get an old acrylic brush that's a bit mangled. Dip that in my yellow ochre. Like that. And then try and do that. I'll drop it off a little bit because that was a bit much. Just to create a little bit of sand texture, like that. Take it off the edge. Just a little bit of sand texture with my yellow ochre. Like that. Get a bit more, because why not? All right, and we need seagulls, because you can't have a nothing background. You've got to have a little bit of life in there. So we're going to draw our seagulls, and we're going to use a bit of dark blue because they'll be reflecting the stormy light. Oh God, I've got to get a bit more moisture on my brush. There we go, and we have little seagulls in the background. So I'm going to actually I'm going to do darker down here because I can. Just want to darken up just out there a bit, and just maybe along that line, just a little, not solid, just a little. Then I'm going to wet that and take the edges around like that. Okay, I'm going to call that done. So I'm going to sign it. Down in the bottom, get a bit of blue, sign it down. Where am I going to sign it? Over here. And we'll leave that as my little signature, like that. And I'm going to take the edges off and call it done. So that was lots of fun, peeps. So I hope you enjoyed. Oops, 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 oops. Big oops. Okay, is that one on? Oh, okay, there we go. There we go, got it. Up there. And take the bottom bit off. Great work, thank you. It was good fun. It was good fun, but I'm going to call that done. And I better go and do some housework because slack. I've had too much fun this morning. So thank you for watching. Thank you for hanging out. Thank you everyone for being here. You are a world of awesomeness, and yeah, I hope you all have a great day, night, whatever it is, wherever you are, and I will probably see you tomorrow for another video. Have a great day, great night.